Holton Ahlers joins us today on Pirate Radio Live. Holt, how you doing, man?
Doing good, Cliff. Hope you are.
Yeah, I feel good sitting in your seat, the big boy
I
seat.
know, man. Come on.
I hope I do it justice. Holt, we've got our quarterback, at least our starting quarterback for Week 1, as Jake Garcia won that job, and we'll be starting when East Carolina takes on Norfolk State next Saturday. I had heard through the off season that yeah, it's a competition in name only, and it's going to be Hauser. I heard you recently say, maybe even last week, that this is a legit competition. It really is back and forth from what you understood. So sounds like it went down to the wire, but Jake Garcia won that job. Why do you think he was able to win the job?
Yeah, I think he kind of went in fearless. I think, one of the best traits a quarterback can have is have nothing to lose, and that's a really dangerous player. And I think he went in with the nothing to lose mentality, kind of like, I mean, look, players look at social media, and a lot of people were naming Hauser the guy, and even us on Pirate Radio thought, from what we were hearing, Hauser was the guy. And once camp started, I heard he had a really good spring, and then once camp started, I kept hearing rumblings of Garcia might be the guy, Garcia might be the guy, and then last week, the more I talked to people, the more I went to practice and watch. I was like, Garcia kind of seems like he's going to be the guy to win this job, and that's why I said it last week on the podcast. I told people don't be surprised if Houston comes out and names him the starter, which he did. So I wasn't surprised at all. And now, if you would have told me in the spring that this would have happened, I wouldn't. I would have been shocked a little bit, but from hearing what I've heard, leading up to ending of spring and then all throughout camp, I think he performed really well in key situations, and that's what led to him winning it.
Yeah, and it's just interesting. The only reason I had Hauser winning it is because he got here first, basically, and I felt like he was kind of given the title unofficially when he transfers in, and there's no more Alex Flynn and Mason Garcia. But then Jake Garcia is added to the fold here, so made for an interesting offseason battle. Now the question is, Holden, we've talked about this too. Now we have specifics on it. Caden Hauser is the backup. How's he going to handle that? And he was not at media day, and I've heard a lot of people say that it's probably a good thing, kind of give Jake Garcia his day, and Caden Hauser doesn't want to answer questions about not winning the job, obviously. But how does it? Because look, we're going to see him on the field. I would bet money that Jake Garcia is not going to take every snap for ECU this season. So now the question is, how does Hauser handle this? And when his number is called, will he be ready to go?
Well, yeah, that's the big thing. I think it was honestly nice of Houston to not make him do media day. Look, I'm sure he was requested by a lot of people to talk
Yeah.
to because I mean that's a hot conversation to have. But at the same time, I mean he is still a college kid. And he's young too. Like he's not an older guy. Like Garcia is an older guy and he has 1 or 2 years left. Hauser has 3 years left. I mean he's only a sophomore in school, so I mean he has a long time left to develop, and he's gonna play here, whether it's this year, the next year. Like I think he'll play this year. I had a chance to talk to him yesterday just about the whole competition and stuff, and just tell him to keep his head in the game because they're going to need him. And when his time's called, it's his job to win. It's his job to take. And as a backup quarterback, you got to be ready because you got to have the mindset. Whenever I do go in, I'm not going back out. And if you have that mindset, if he has that mindset, he'll be ready to roll when his time's come. But it seems right now like they're in good hands with Garcia.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen in previous years, Rio Johnson starts game one, struggles game two, Carden goes in, never comes out.
Yeah.
Reed Herring starts game one, Holton Ahlers plays game two, and that's kind of the beginning of the Holton Ahlers legacy at East Carolina. So, not saying that's going to happen this time because Jake Garcia is going to be great, but there is precedent set where the backup quarterback eventually does become the starter here. So.
You hear it a lot in football, man. I mean, Cliff, me and you talked about it. I mean, TCU, when they made the run to the national championship and played Georgia, I can't even think of his name now. He just got cut from the Chargers.
Max Duggan, right?
Yeah, Max Duggan. He was named the starter, or he was named the backup, and then game one, their starter goes and gets hurt, and Max Duggan comes in, leads them to the playoff, and is up for the Heisman. So it happens all the time. It wouldn't surprise me if we see both this year, but hopefully they name the right guy, and Jake Garcia goes out there and plays well, all year and leads them to a bunch of wins. But in college football nowadays, it's tough to do that. It's tough to stay healthy for one, and it's tough to go out there and perform week after week.
Holden, how are the players feeling right now, knowing that the camp portion's over? I guess there's good news to that. Also, bad news: school has started, so you got more on your plate. But now you're getting into the traditional game weeks. Well, what's kind of going through their brains right now?
Oh, they're ready to roll, man. And it ain't even bad news that school's starting. College is not that hard, no matter what people say. College is, especially as an athlete, you get so many things, so many extra benefits. You know, you have tutors on hand whenever you need them. You have people who are making sure you're going to class. So it's exciting. It means football's here. And, you know, when you're in camp and there is no football, I mean, there is no school, then you're like, all right, man, we just got to get through camp. Well, now they're seeing the other side. I mean, you got a game next week. They're doing a full mock week this week, which I talked about on the pod last week and we posted. But like, yeah, I mean, it's exciting. I think the time. You start feeling it when the students get back, and you start feeling that first day of class. There's rumblings about football starting, and then you get used to school for 1 week, and then bam, it's game week. So the guys are ready to roll. I'd imagine. I know I certainly was. My teammates were when I was there.
Every school now and really every team tight-lipped as they can be about injuries. I guess in the NFL, if you're too tight-lipped, you can actually get fined as an organization.
Yeah.
But ECU, look, we used to have an injury report on the weekly game notes. That was something of yesteryear. Now everybody hush hush about it, and I understand why. But I know Chase Sowell banged up. Coach Darrell Roberts said on Monday that he's active, he's doing a lot. They hope to get him back very, very soon. Outside of that, Holton, I don't know of too many injuries with this team, but how do you feel just heading into game week next week with this team right now? Are you confident? You worried? How do you feel overall about Pirate football?
I don't know, Clip. I mean, next week we should feel good. I mean, we should go in and win next week 100%. I know we're going to
Right.
have a really, really good defense. Look, I think the offense is going to do pretty well, but I'm not going to, put all my eggs in one basket without seeing it in hand. Look, I haven't seen any of these receivers playing a Pirate uniform. Haven't seen the quarterback playing a Pirate uniform. We've seen the O-line for the most part in Rajay, but other than that, offensively, everything is new. And look, I've said it on the podcast before, and I'm not saying we're not gonna have a good year, but I'm just saying, I'm gonna, hold back a little bit just until I see it because I mean, look, each year in college football is going to be different. We know the defense is going to be really, really good. I mean, from the practices that I've seen, they're as good as they come. But you also go out there and you see the offense maybe struggle. Every now and then, and I'm not saying every single time. I'm just saying from what I've seen, but they're also playing a good defense. So until I go out there and see these guys, perform in a Pirate uniform, I'm going to be hesitant. But I think we have a chance. I've spoken about the schedule before. I mean, I think the schedule is very, very, very winnable, especially if we get, a decent record through those first 4 games. I think we have a good chance.
Yeah, I feel like, and good points too, that this defense is hopefully good enough to get by the first couple weeks if the offense struggles, if we have to wait on them to catch up. Because I said it earlier this week, I'm starting to lean more towards this defense could be special. I don't know, seeing Tay and Elijah Morris and Sarad and those guys and everybody we got at the corners with Revel and everything. I feel like that they're going to be even maybe better than last year, and you improve the offense a little bit. That could mean big things, but maybe early on, Holt, they'll be relying on their defense. Maybe not against Norfolk State, but I feel like ODU. If the offense struggles, you're going to need Blake Harrell's D to really kind of lead the way for this team.
Yeah, you are. And look, the defense is used to that last year. I mean, we
Yeah.
could have won last year. We could have won a lot of games last year, averaging like 20 points as well as their performance. So if they play even just as good as they did last year, we're going to win more games. I'd imagine our offense is going to be better. But look, at the same time, I was sitting here talking about the receivers, the quarterback, and everyone new. We also got a new OC who's never called, live action before in a game. So
Yeah.
you don't know how any of that's going to be until you go out there and do it. Now, Norfolk State should be a good rev up, for ODU, for Liberty, and for App State. But, and I don't want to disrespect Norfolk State, but, when you're at ECU, you got to go win those games and win them pretty dominantly.
Yeah, and get to 1-0 for the first time in a long time here
Sheesh.
at East Carolina. Holden, as a player, would you have liked to open up a season in Ireland?
That'd been pretty sweet. Free trip to Ireland clip. I mean, I would have took it if it was on the Pirates tab. But yeah, I don't think I'll be going there on my wallet.
That's what Florida State and Georgia Tech will be doing this weekend. That is a noon kickoff. SMU Nevada is this weekend. Montana State FCS is a favorite on the road at New Mexico. Bronco Mendenhall's first game. You got some late night Hawaii against Delaware State, and also Norfolk State will be in action. We'll get to scout them coming up when they take on Florida A&M Saturday night, 7:30. So there is your small week 0 slate. Not a ton there, Holden, but it's football, and we'll be watching, right?
100% I will be. I'm getting my sports gambling mind ready to roll clip. And a game that I would sleep on, man, Georgia Tech's got a really good quarterback. He played really, really well last year. I think they finally have things. Maybe they could have a good year this year. So that's a sleeper game. You don't know how Florida State's going to be. I'd imagine they're going to be pretty well, but they did lose a lot. DJ Uwe, whatever it is either terrible or great, depending on how he plays. So we'll have to see how all that goes.
Holton Ahlers joining us one more preseason week, and then they get a week off, and then it's time for real games in the NFL and just kind of our stock watch. We like to talk quarterbacks with you, Holt, but once again, kind of similar as last week, these rookies are looking pretty good. And Jaden Daniels has been named the starter. Caleb Williams, I've been watching Hard Knocks, and he, sometimes if you hear him talk or the way he's interacting with coaches, seems like he's been around forever. So very excited. Bo Nix, the Bronco fans are really excited about Bo Nix. I think you're a Nix guy too, right? So there's a lot of buzz about these young quarterbacks. It's exciting.
There is. I think Bo Nix has a chance to have a really good year. I've said it before. Sean Payton really knows how to use a quarterback like that. Can move him around and stuff. He did that a lot with Taysom Hill, which Bo Nix can throw way better than Taysom Hill, but he can move similar to him. So that could be a positive one there. And then I've said Jaden Daniels before. I think he's going to have a really good year. I'm excited to see him. And then obviously, Caleb Williams is going to make throws. He's going to do the right things. It just depends if they can block for him is what it's going to come down to.
Holden, a great episode of the Holton Ahlers Show last week with another Conley Viking, Bryant Packard. What do you got planned for this week?
Yeah, man, we got Blake Harrell coming in studio, so we're excited about that. The mastermind of the entire defense that we all are talking about going to be one of the legendary defense. He's the guy that brought in this culture that really the teams developed. He kind of brought in his own culture. You don't see that a lot, with coordinators. They kind of follow along with the head coach, and he has, but he's also brought his own swagger, brought his own youth with him too, and it's really changed the culture of the program. So he's going to be joining us. And then World Series of Poker champion, the Big Hooney's going to be joining us. Chris is going to be joining us too, so we're pumped about it.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I've interacted with him a little bit and have never been able to nail him down. So shout out to Holton Ahlers for getting that interview. Here at Pirate Radio. Holt, good stuff, man. We will be previewing week 1 next week with you, talking Pirate football and all the big games and things like that. Very exciting times. Also, gearing up for the Pirate Radio football kickoff party, where Mr. American Idol, Blake Prohl, will be at the State Theater. So pumped up about that next week, too.
Heck yeah, man. Then we got to get ready for the 5th quarter clip. We got to get ready to roll. You got to teach me your ways.
I think you'll handle it fine. And look, if the game goes like we hope it goes, it'll be an easy first show. If that game does not go like we want it to,
burn it down.
Will be the biggest show of all time for the wrong reason. So, and you'll be a part of that, you and Kate and Norman. Thank you, Holt, man, and we'll catch up with you next week and have a great show with Blake Harrell and Big Hooney.
For sure. Thanks, Flip.